Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to the Sweetwater Minute. Guitarist Neil Zaza was recently here at Sweetwater performing a holiday concert with his band, and they were using some very interesting technology, including the Avid 11 rack. I had a chance to sit down with Neil and his band to talk about how they were putting that technology to use. Here's our interview. Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher, Editorial Director at Sweetwater, and we're here with Neil Zaza and the band to talk about the concert and the 11 rack, and let's have a little fun, guys. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Great. Do it.
So we've got Neil, we've got Nick, we've got Tim, and we've got Ray. We appreciate you guys coming in, doing the show for us. Thanks. So, Neil, tell us, what was the genesis of One Silent Night? How did the whole idea come about?
In the mid-'90s, as crazy as it sounds, I used to go to a family member's craft show, and I used to sit there and watch these old ladies walk around and buy a bunch of things at the different booths.
Right.
And the joke was, you know, if I put a Christmas CD together and I sat here and I had my CDs right here, I could make a fortune. It was always like a family joke, like, oh, Neil's gonna do a Christmas CD. But as it turned out, I had some spare time, and I started doing this Christmas CD as sort of a tongue-in-cheek joke. Mm-hmm. But what happened is, as I started doing, getting the material together and everything, it actually turned into a serious venture. I'm like, these songs are really majestic and beautiful. There's some great melodies in them.
Right.
And it just started snowballing. And then our first show was at the Palace Theater in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. And so it started from a tongue-in-cheek joke as I was bored sitting at someone's craft show to what we sort of had here tonight, which is the One Silent Night. So
right.
It's a weird journey, but we got there,
Right. So how do you choose the material that you're going to work on? Did you go through every Christmas song, or what was the how did you decide?
That's a nice question. I like to stay away from the campy Christmas stuff, like Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer or something like that. So the songs that I choose have a really strong melody, like Hark the Herald Angels Sing, or something that has some majestic quality to it. And then from there, we sort of give it a rock treatment, and we kind of mesh it together with maybe some favorite songs of ours from the classic rock era. So
right.
You might have is it Baba O'Reilly or Hark the Herald Angels Sing or something like that. So
right.
we really kind of put a classic rock spin on what we've been doing with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And is the whole show pretty well? I mean, are you playing it from music that you've arranged very strictly? Are you guys improvising a lot? Or?
It's pretty strict in that when we do it anywhere else but what we did here tonight at Sweetwater, we have a big orchestra, a big choir. So it's a whole production. So what we did tonight is like the genesis of it, the rock band of it.
Right.
But when we'll do it other places, we have a conductor and a choir director. So it's really regimented. We know what we're going to be doing.
You can't go off and expect the whole choir to follow along.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
You.
Right, exactly.
And it's so weird for us because as a four-piece rock band, we're like, take it from the chorus and we can rehearse from it.
Right.
But coming from an orchestral point of view, hey, excuse me, Neil, can we take it from measure 51?
Right.
Measure 51.
Yeah, right.
What's that sound
like?
So
you start, we'll blend in.
It's always the combination of the two worlds that's interesting.
Right.
So.
Right. What challenges have you faced when you're combining the two together?
I
think the first thing is where we rehearse.
Yeah.
We
put that many people in one venue.
Right.
From a production standpoint, the logistics are ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
The orchestra's got to hear everything, and we're a rock band.
Right.
Put an orchestra in a room and put a rock band in front of them. That doesn't usually mix out very well.
Right.
So that's the first challenge.
So when you're playing, then does the conductor follow the drums, or do you lead the show, or how does that work as far as setting the rhythm?
I lead the show.
Okay,
yeah.
so you're in charge.
The drummer is the king.
Yeah, he's in charge. Right.
That's why I get the riser.
Right. That's the reason.
We found it. Hey, get that guy with the boxes.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's interesting, though, because dealing with acoustic instruments such as violins and cellos and such, pitch is always determined by how they hear.
Right.
So, when we do we call it a kumbaya rehearsal. So we get together and we play through little amps and, we run through the set with everyone and it works out really nice. But then when we bring our big amps in and it's loud, it's through a big PA, it's always an issue to be able to hear, for the orchestra to hear their own pitch of what they're playing. So we've had to deal with, in-ear situations for that. But it's things that you would never think, like, well, they play in pitch, it's fine. But when you add so much volume and bounce back in the hall and everything, now we're dealing with another host of problems,
Enter the 11 rack.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's talk about that.
That's why it's so critical for our application.
Right.
When we get together with the orchestra and/or the choir for rehearsals, they forget. They love it in concept, but they forget it really is a rock band. So there's big rock guitars and that thing. So the in-ear thing is really the only way to go.
Yeah. Right. Right. So now here you were using 3 11 racks, right? All 3 of you guys were playing. Were playing through 11 rack.
Right.
So what adaptations did you have to make to using that? Anything at all?
Actually, nothing. In fact, it made life easier because, so for all of us, we use an in-ear system.
Okay.
So we take a split, goes right to our personal monitor board that we have, and we can dial our in-ears perfect, which is great. A feed right to the house, and then Ray, you have a different setup than we do.
Yeah, my setup's a little unique in that what I like to hear in my ears is different than what comes through the PA. I don't want any effects on any instrument anytime in my ear. So with the 11 rack, the flexibility and the routing is amazing because not only do you have level differences, so I could send, output 1 could be a different level with certain effects. Output 2 could be no effects at a different level, and output 3 to the PA is completely wet and it has all the effects in it. So the flexibility is amazing. And I'll tell you, the gear, and these guys can attest to this, I'm next to Neil in this group, I'm probably the biggest gear hound that there is on the planet. I have a warehouse of bass gear, at my house, otherwise known as a barn. But my point is that I have racks of gear that I've bought over time, and I'm never satisfied. I mean, I've got everything from giant power amps, professional touring grade power amps, down to little preamps, and I've tried everything, and I'm just never satisfied on stage. And it may sound a little pitchy, but the first clean bass patch in the 11 rack, I turned that on and made a couple of little EQ adjustments. Nothing else.
You're set.
Plug and play.
Right.
Plug and
that's
play.
great.
Other than the routing, but that's all pretty easy.
Right. And you guys were using ground controls to bring effects in and out. So you had effects you were turning on and off during the course of the show?
Yeah. I mean, Neil and I generally, what we used to use were live amps with pedal boards. But with the ground control, we can treat them exactly like we would use our pedal boards. Right. And bring in our overdrive pedal or delay pedals and things like that, or take them out, without having to change patches. So you can just activate different stomp boxes just like you would a stomp box.
Right. Right. Well, it has to make it so much easier on the front of house as well, because you aren't dealing with the volume issue from the stage and trying to mic up an orchestra at the same time, and having to deal with that and get it off the stage and out into the audience without feedback problems, without all the mud that can sometimes come from doing that. So being able to have the in-ear system has to be really a great benefit.
10 years ago, we had our front house engineer. We've had the same front house engineer since the inception of the gig, thank goodness. And we would laugh, although he wasn't laughing, every time he'd turn up a violin, guitar. Turn up the cello.
The bleed was unbelievable.
I bet. Yeah. I bet.
Plus, in fact, just with traveling, so you could actually have for us, it's 3 11 racks, and our little monitor board that we bring with us.
Right.
And because we always want to own our own monitors. We never want to use other people's monitors simply because we know what we want and we can control everything. And now the rig went down from trucks of stuff to we roll in a rack and we're ready to go.
Right.
So it's incredible.
A much more efficient way to tour and put on the show.
Yeah. Everyone, the sound man loves
sacrifice.
it.
No sacrifice.
Yeah.
Right. Wonderful. Guys, thanks so much for coming in.
Awesome.
Really enjoyed talking with you, and the show was great.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Mitch.
Thanks a lot.
Good to see you guys.
You too. Yep.
I'm Mitch Gallagher, editorial director at Sweetwater. I hope you enjoyed this interview with Neil Zaza. I'm Mitch Gallagher. Thanks for joining me for the Sweetwater Minute.